To pursue brotherhood, we must silence the voice of self-disqualification. To pursue brotherhood, we've got to silence the voice of self-disqualification. You know, as I meet with men all over the nation, I will tell you the number one enemy of men getting into the game, of getting off the bench and into the spiritual game, in their lives, in their family, in their careers, in the church, is the voice of self-disqualification. It happens two ways. We think, I'm too sinful, I'm too broken, I got too many issues, I got too many problems. If they knew what I was dealing with, I would never be accepted into their community. We have those voices of self-disqualification that men deal with all the time that keep them from experiencing brotherhood. On the other side of the house, we got men who are capable leaders who say, I'm not educated enough, I'm not biblically wise enough, I don't have my life all together, I'm not like Vince, I'm not like my pastor, I don't know the Bible well enough to be able to teach and bring men into brotherhood. And both of these voices are the voices of self-disqualification. Men hear them all the time. But to be able to step into brotherhood, we have to silence those voices because they are not from God. They are not from God. I want you to listen to Paul as he charges a young man named Timothy. From the book of 1 Timothy, it says this. This charge, Paul says, I entrust to you, Timothy, my child. So we got to remember here that Paul met Timothy, this young man, when he was in Lystra on his second missionary journey. He meets with him. This young man, Timothy, is being raised by his mother and his grandmother. His dad is gone. He's out of the picture. We don't know if he's dead or he's killed, died of some disease. We don't really know. But he is raised by two women. And then Paul enters town, kind of like my grandfather did in my life. Paul enters town. Timothy takes a liking to Paul, and Timothy joins Paul. That's what he does. Paul essentially raises Timothy in the faith, and then he says this next to him. In accordance with the prophecies previously made about you. So now what Paul is doing is he's reaching back to promises and prophecies given to Timothy a long time ago, maybe even before Paul found him. He says, made about you, that by them you may wage the good warfare, holding faith and a good conscience. And why does Paul say this to Timothy right here? Well, Timothy was being charged to enter Ephesus, and Ephesus was having all kinds of problems. Paul wanted Timothy to go there. Timothy was scared to go. Why is Timothy scared to go? Because Ephesus is a metropolis full of wealth and intellectualism and one of the seven wonders of the world, the temple of Diana. The person who is educated and prepared and equipped to go is Paul. But Paul can't go. So you know what he does? He sends Timothy to go. And guess what Timothy's problem is? The voice of self-disqualification. He's timid. He doesn't want to go. So what does Paul do here? Paul helps to silence the voice of self-disqualification by reaching back to prophecies made about him, promises made about him, and then pushes him a little bit, because sometimes we need a push from another godly man, a push to get off the bench and get into the game, because you're going to have to fight a war, a spiritual war that I need you to fight. And guess what? Paul was never able to go to Ephesus, so Timothy was the only hope. Timothy had to go. But imagine if Timothy doesn't go. Imagine if he doesn't go. Then Ephesus is lost forever. Fellas, to pursue brotherhood, we've got to silence these voices. Either the voice that says don't participate because you're too sinful, or the voice that says don't lead because you're not educated enough. And men hear these voices all the time.